What if I told you that medieval people brushed their teeth without toothpaste, and that the strange and sometimes horrifying things they used will shock you to your core? Before we uncover this forbidden truth, hit subscribe right now, drop a comment with your guess, okay, and like this video so the story doesn't get buried again, okay, because what you're about to hear is one of those secrets they daren't teach in school. It's a hidden history that still lingers in the shadows of forgotten manuscripts and censored archives. Picture this. It is the year 1260. You are standing inside a smoky tavern in the heart of medieval England. The air is thick with the scent of roasted meat and sour ale. The floor is sticky with spilled drink, and a fire crackles in the hearth. You look around the room at the faces of the people gathered there. Some mouths are half-empty, teeth missing, gums blackened by decay. But others surprise you. Their teeth look clean, almost white, far better than you'd expect for an age without toothbrushes or toothpaste. How did they manage that? The answer isn't simple. It involves ashes, wine, herbs, powders made from bone and shellevin, disturbingly, human urine. These practices weren't random acts of desperation. They were deliberate choices, guarded remedies, and sometimes forbidden knowledge. And the deeper we dig, the more unsettling the story becomes. At first glance, modern historians dismiss the idea that medieval people cared much about hygiene. The stereotype is one of filth, rot, and neglect. Tells another story. In the Taquinum Sanitatis, a 14th century health handbook, scribes carefully detailed recipes for powders made of sage, salt, and mint to cleanse the mouth. Some instructions mention using linen cloth dipped in wine vinegar, then rubbed along the teeth and gums to strip away buildup. A lost 12th century text from the medical school at Salerno describes grinding rosemary and mixing it with ashes to create a tooth-cleaning powder. These weren't just peasant folk remedies. These were structured traditions, some preserved by noble families, others by monks inside monasteries. Yet, mysteriously, many of these recipes vanish in later copies, pages cut out, margins scraped clean, even entire chapters erased. It is almost as if someone wanted to destroy the knowledge of medieval dental care. One of the most shocking discoveries comes from the archives of a northern Italian monastery. Buried in a monk's personal notes was an unsettling practice: urines, human urine use as a mouth rinse. As disturbing as it sounds, the ammonia found in urine acted as a natural whitener. It disinfected, killed bacteria, and even polished the teeth. In fact, records from ancient Rome suggest this practice was already known and sometimes continued into the medieval era. But here's the twist: later versions of the same texts deliberately erase all mention of it. Why? The church began warning against vanity, condemning those who sought beauty of the flesh. But could there have been another motive? Was this knowledge erased not out of morality, but out of control? If people could preserve their health and appearance with simple remedies, they would be less dependent on the spiritual and medical authority of the church. Suppressing knowledge about hygiene wasn't about sin, it was about power. Consider the deeper truth here. For peasants, brushing wasn't vanity, it was survival. Rotting teeth often led to deadly infections. The poor turned to whatever was available. They chewed on twigs from ash or hazel trees, their frayed ends acting as primitive toothbrushes. Archaeologists excavating cesspits in medieval London have found these very sticks, one end worn smooth from chewing. Meanwhile, nobles enjoyed far more luxurious options. They crushed pearls into fine powder, mixing it with vinegar to polish their teeth. Some used imported spices like cloves or cinnamon to freshen their breath. Even in dental hygiene, class warfare was alive and well. Peasants' teeth rotted. Nobles smiled white. And those smiles weren't just vanity. They were symbols of superiority, of power displayed even through the mouth. But here's where the conspiracy runs deeper. Many of the most effective remedies, charcoal, herbal rinses, twigs, weren't European inventions. They were imported. During the Crusades, Contact with the Islamic world exposed Europeans to new practices. In the Islamic Golden Age, hygiene was sacred. The miswak stick, made from the arak tree, was praised for centuries as a natural toothbrush, still used in some parts of the world today. Arab medical texts also described mouth rinses made with vinegar, salt, and herbs. Europeans brought these ideas home, but often in secret. Some nobles adopted them, some monks recorded them, but widespread use was suppressed, either out of pride, prejudice, or fear that foreign remedies would undermine the church's authority. Imagine the irony. While other civilizations openly embraced cleanliness, Europe wrapped the subject in silence and shame. The most chilling whispers come from the manuscripts of alchemists. Hidden inside coded symbols, alchemists embedded recipes for tooth powders disguised as experiments on metals. One such text, known as the Liber Albus, long thought to describe transformations of lead into silver, turned out to be a recipe. Sage, ash, vinegar, ground seashell. A complete formula for oral cleansing, hidden in plain sight. Why hide it? Why encrypt dental care unless it was knowledge considered too powerful or too dangerous for common people to access? And yet mainstream historians still deny it. Squan, and they'll tell you peasants never brushed their teeth, that urine mouthwash is apocryphal, that powders of pearl and sage were rare curiosities. But then, why do multiple manuscripts across Europe include these recipes? Why do bishops' letters warn against the excessive cleansing of the mouth if no one was practicing it? Why do Vatican herbal treatises contain pages cut out exactly where recipes for tooth care might have appeared? The pattern is undeniable. This was not ignorance. It was censorship. Hygiene equaled autonomy, and autonomy was a threat. Now imagine the revelation. What if it's all true? What if medieval people not only brushed their teeth, but understood natural remedies long before us? What if their knowledge of herbs, minerals, and ash was deliberately erased to keep people reliant on prayer, confession, and expensive medical care? Think about the cesspits in London, where archaeologists found not only twigs, but fragments of cloth still stained with herbal powders. Think of the letters where priests condemned people for prideful cleansing. Think of the redacted pages in the Vatican's archives. This is not trivia. This is a story of control hidden in the most private act of daily life. And here's the chilling parallel. In China, as early as the 6th century, nobles were using paper not just for writing, but for hygiene. In the Islamic world, ritual cleanliness was tied to faith itself, ensuring the preservation of teeth and gums for centuries. Meanwhile, in Christian Europe, silence ruled. The body was shamed, the mouth ignored, and the people suffered, not out of ignorance, but out of design. By keeping their bodies frail and their mouths diseased, the ruling elite kept their spirits broken and their obedience assured. So the next time you pick up your toothbrush and squeeze out a line of minty toothpaste, remember this: it is not just hygiene, it is freedom. It is knowledge recovered after centuries of suppression. Medieval people brushed their teeth, but they brushed with ashes, herbs, bones, shells, twigs, and sometimes with substances too disturbing to name. And in doing so, they left behind fragments of a story someone wanted to bury. Redacted manuscripts, censored recipes, erased knowledge. History may not be what you were told, never is. They could rewrite something as small as brushing teeth. What else might have been rewritten? What greater truths are still buried in secret archives, hidden behind redacted pages, waiting for someone to uncover them? And I'll leave you with this thought. If knowledge about hygiene was silenced once, could it be silenced again? Subscribe now, because truth, no matter how filthy, no matter how forbidden, always finds its voice.